Hello, everyone. My name is Terry Young. I'm the Vice President of Policy Engagement and Innovation with the Independent Electricity System Operator, or IESO. Essentially, we help keep the lights on across Ontario, ensuring electricity is available when and where it's needed. I'm happy to be here as part of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario annual conference. I know it's a different type of conference. I think we're seeing a different kind of world that we're all trying to react to. I'm joining you from my home in Toronto. I've been working from home since the middle of March when the pandemic was declared. And about 90% of our employees are working from home. We've got a small crew that's still going to our control center to make sure that we can maintain reliability of the power system. So today I'm going to talk about what the IESO does. I also want to look at how we've been responding to COVID-19 and maybe how you've been responding to COVID-19 as well with respect to electricity demand. And then I want to talk about how we interact with municipalities across this province. And that's through our planning process. So I want to talk about the importance of engagement to the IESO, making sure we understand what your needs are, making sure that we're able to work with you, that you're able to work with us. And we've been actually very successful since the pandemic in engaging online, which we're doing right now. So as the conference gets started as well, I would encourage you to visit the IESO booth. I'll be dropping in from time to time and hope to talk to many of you there. But let's get started. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the IESO and what we do. And as you see from this slide, we have a number of responsibilities. First and foremost, as I mentioned, we operate the province-wide power system or work with local distribution companies, with transmitters like Hydro One to make sure that electricity does get to where it's needed. So we do this. We're a 24/7 operation. We have a control center that essentially monitors demand for electricity that's occurring in the province. And every 5 minutes, we're sending signals to generators and others to make sure that the electricity that's needed is produced and is available. We have a significant planning role. So from the next 5 seconds to the next 20 years, we're planning how much electricity is going to be needed and making sure that that electricity is available. Affordability is one of our objectives. So we are working with participants across the sector to make sure that costs can be managed and that we can be as low cost as possible. So it's an ongoing effort that we with others are very much engaged in. We also provide innovation. Our role now in this electricity sector has been changing quite a bit. Certainly in the last 10 years, we've got to a point now where there's been so many changes, not just in the way that we produce electricity, but the way that we consume as well. And we look over the next decade, that change is going to continue. And so we have been working with many to make sure that we can take advantage of new technologies, innovation, to both enhance reliability and drive down costs. And then finally, we also engage with communities across to enable the best decisions that we can make, the best decisions that we can make together. So we do that on all facets of what we're doing, whether it's through planning, whether it's through conservation. We administer the government's conservation program. Energy efficiency is one of the things that we're very much involved in, making sure that we're making the most efficient use of electricity as we do so. So those are generally cover what the IESO does. I want to shift a bit and talk a little bit about COVID-19 and what we've experiencing during COVID-19 and in March when many of us went home to work. A lot of industry slowed down. Many retail businesses, commercial businesses shuttered their doors. And as a result, we saw quite a significant drop in electricity, anywhere from 16 to 18% from the business sector is what we saw, a drop in electricity. Correspondingly, we saw an increase in residential consumers as we were staying home and working from home. And about 6% or so, 6 to 8% increase. So overall, the electricity use was much lower. And this chart just shows you that as we've started to come back to work, and in particular, because of the heat wave, we're starting to see an increase in electricity. This gives you a sense of what we've been seeing in July. Very high demands for electricity for a number of reasons. First and foremost, because of the heat wave and the air conditioning that we're using to ensure that we're safe and comfortable during this heat wave. We're also seeing industries being able to ramp back up production. There was a pricing change announced with the government that allowed industries to, large industries to focus on production, ramp up their production, not worry about the price of electricity at that time. And so that changes have also meant an increase in demand for electricity. And then of course, we're just seeing more of a return to what we saw previously as the government or as the province enters stage 3. So stay tuned for more on this. We're continuing to monitor, including if further measures are taken, depending on as we recover from COVID-19. The last little bit here, I want to talk a bit about how we are engaging with communities across the province. And so largely that's through our planning function. And you'll see from this slide that we have three various roles that we take when we look at planning in three different ways. One is in the bulk system across Ontario, as we look at that province-wide system that we administer and work with other participants to maintain reliability of. On the flip side of that, or on the other end, if you will, we have the distribution network planning, where we're working with the 60 or so local distribution companies across the province to make sure that their networks are reliable. And then in the middle here, you see the regional and community engagement. And that's where Ontario is divided up into 21 different regions. And every 5 years, we produce plans that essentially assess the needs. And what we're trying to do now is make sure that as we're assessing those needs, you have a voice in there. And I'm going to talk a little bit about opportunities that you have to get involved. But as we look across the province, we can see largely the provincial system is in pretty good shape for the next decade, that our needs are quite limited. But there are pockets in the province where that's not the case. One of those is in the Windsor-Essex area, where we've seen electricity demand climb. And over the next 5 years, we're expecting it to double largely because of the agricultural growth, the growth in greenhouses. That greenhouse community is having an impact on demand for electricity as well. So we've been working with Hydro One to bring in a new transmission line. But in the meantime, we've also been working with the communities, the greenhouse communities, to see if there's ways that we can make their use of electricity more efficient. We've had tremendous uptake for the community. They've responded to one of our calls on innovation, and we expect to be announcing shortly some of the plans that that we have to deal with this situation in Windsor-Essex. In York Region, completely different community, very, very much urban. We've been working with Electra on a new pilot that we see has tremendous potential. It's a project that's going to test how a local electricity market could function alongside the market that we operate, and whether there are some cost efficiencies that can be gained there to address the needs in that particular community. So innovation, you're going to hear much more about it from us as we work with you over the next little while. And I'm going to end on the discussion we have around regional networks. So we've created across the province now 5 different regional networks. And through these regional networks, we're getting participation from members of communities across the province. We're putting on annual regional forums. We've done some of them online, and we'll continue to use online until it's safe to meet again in person. We have regional newsletters, and pretty soon we're going to see an online engagement tool for members coming. So stay tuned for that. So again, before I wrap up, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and I look forward to engaging with you. Please drop by, see our booths. A lot more to talk about than this just 10 minutes, but in the meantime, all of you, please stay safe, and I look forward to chatting to as many of you as I can during the conference. So enjoy the conference. And again, stay well, and thanks for joining me today.